can still practice. Practice all you want.
He doesn't want him to see it, dude.
Hey guys.
Oh,
what's
we are
going on?
live.
We are live. It's a thing. We're doing a thing. I'm trying to find calendar events as we speak. Welcome.
Adam's back.
Adam is back. I'm here. I am totally messed up as far as what time is right now. So it's kind of hilarious because what? It would be 10 a.m. over in China right now. Which is why I was catching like the beginning of the last week's stream. And then here we are already. It's crazy at how fast a week goes by. Anyway, welcome to the RC Drift Talk live stream. We talk about RC Drift related things. We talk about competition. We talk about hot takes on what everything's doing, like who's doing what, what's doing what, who's making what, all that kind of stuff. Talk about calendar events and all that stuff. So speaking of calendar events, last week I wasn't here. They just finished round number 3 of Oregon SDC, correct? Yep. And we've got number 1 sitting right in the middle here.
We
Is that
sure
right?
do.
And then Jake was
Mr.
number 2
DJ.
and Vitaly was 3.
Yep. DJ's on one this year, dude. He's unstoppable.
He's got that overdose
know what
game
he's
going
doing.
on.
DJ, and you
Found
know
that
where you're at on the RC Drift IO
Oh, that's funny.
no leaderboard.
Oh,
He's gotta be
RC
pretty
Drift
high
IO
up.
is rigged right now.
Oh, he's not happy
Crashed.
with it.
Yeah. You know, for a while I was top 100 in the world. So
Hold on. Let me find this. RC Drift
Not that
IO.
It's
anymore.
rigged right now, but
So we already got shout outs from Charlie, Joe, and Cody in chat for you guys.
What up?
I just got I got 2 wins in a row,
What's
and
up,
then that
guys?
got me enough points. But I think we're a little down the leaderboard now. But it's all right.
DJ's got to be moving up that thing. He was already pretty high, but he's won 2 of 3 rounds and got second in the other one. So
I podiumed all 3 rounds.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've won 2.
Yeah.
You got 1. You got 2 wins and 1 second, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up?
Plus a
okay.
couple TQs.
Yeah, DJ
Turns
should
out-
be number 1 right now, like overall.
Turns out big body is the answer for DJ for sure.
So for the
Oh,
the North America region, it's Jake, and then Sean, and then me. I'm in 3rd.
You should be ahead of Jake.
Yeah, that's why I said it's rigged right now because of Tandem Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So
We gotta
is,
get those Tandem Tuesdays off of there. DJ should be ahead of Jake all day.
so is it the fact that Tandem Tuesdays are ranking as the same as STC
Yeah.
comps? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you also get bonus points for like your first certain number of events, which were all Tandem Tuesdays that Jake won. Which Tandem Tuesdays should not be ranked.
Yeah, and I think at the time when we were trying to set it up, it was like I don't know if you could or if we just accidentally set it as a ranked thing or just like let it ride.
Yeah, I
That
think just
situation.
not knowing how to use the app is all.
I think if you're trying to, compete, you just got to be locked in all the time. So
yeah, but
Tandem
Tandem Tuesday is
Tuesdays
supposed
are
to be like practice for comps, not
I just lock
not-
in. You just got to
Well,
be on.
there's that, and then there's like you're coming off a work day. It's like almost 7 or 8 o'clock at night. Like
Not everyone can go.
Yeah, it's like you never know what people's done that day, so it's like and what's going
People
on.
are
with their
like, you want to be
tasks.
able to like try out new stuff, not just
Yeah, like
Yeah.
who really cares? It's supposed to be a tinker day.
Yeah. It's more just reps than actual competition.
Hot topic. Tandem Tuesdays. Bring it here live.
And I
Yeah,
say
we
this
literally
as
had to
someone who
stop
used to
it.
win a lot of Tandem Tuesdays, so it's not bias.
We literally had to stop it. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, we did have to stop it because they were getting too ornery on the results, I think.
Oh, so Tandem Tuesday is becoming not so Tandem Tuesday anymore.
Yeah, they haven't done it in a while.
I mean, we're tandeming on Tuesdays. It's just not Tandem Tuesday. If you know what I mean.
Exactly. No
Right.
comment.
Well, I guess looking forward here, next round of Oregon SDC is round number 4, June 13th, which is pretty much our semifinal, and then round 5 is the final, which is July 18th. So pretty short season for Oregon, but I think that'll make it better for us, to be honest.
Yeah,
Then we
I
get it out of
feel-
the way.
I'm kind of on the fence about it. Like with my position currently in the series, I'm glad it's just going to be over because I'm pretty much out of contention. So, but I also like before the last round was like, man, I wish there was like 6 rounds because then I could have been like, more invested in actually trying.
How many rounds did we have last year?
We had a lot.
Oh, we did 6, I believe.
6, I think. Hey,
We're doing
Miko.
6 this year too, Casey, right?
Yeah, we're doing 6 rounds. Our round 3 is the 30th of this month, so our rounds are kind of towards the end of the month. Yeah,
I mean, that might be better for y'all too, because then you're going just right up to the championship instead of taking the break.
yeah, and all the Texas tracks, we kind of work together to try to make
Yeah.
sure we're all scheduled correctly, so we're not
Yeah.
overlapping, so everyone gets a chance to go everywhere. So
Right on. So I didn't introduce them, but
that.
we've got Garrett and Casey here. We're going to be talking to them. We've got Team Njoy, right?
mhm.
And Garage RC or GRC Hobbies, right?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. So we're going to be taking a little bit of a dive down them, and if anyone knows Garrett or has talked to Garrett at any level, you'll know how much of a nerd he is, and I love it, and we'll get to it.
All right. Well,
Hey, we're all
Brother.
nerds in our own way.
yeah.
Yes, we are.
So
If you want proof that he's a nerd, just check out the general in the Discord.
Well, okay. All right. Speaking of that, do you want to get going through those?
let's
There's lots to talk about.
I know there's lots to talk about, so we'll get to it, but let's do just kind of plain introductions first. Logan, you're better at it than I am. You want to take the lead here?
Yeah, so we're gonna hear from Garrett a lot this episode. So I'm gonna go to Casey here first. So you're obviously the owner of Garage RC. Why don't let's just hear kind of how you got into RC drift as a driver, and then how that evolved into opening up a track.
So I've been into, I guess, hobby grade RC probably since I'm old, so mid 90s, and then that just kind of in and out hobby grade RC, dabbled a little bit in 10 scale touring, and then kind of in and out until a good buddy of mine, Travis, he basically showed me he had an SX3 at the time, Yokomo, and at the shop we worked at the time, it had a really awesome polished floor, like Lowe's polished floor, so it was perfect. And I'm pretty good at driving RCs then, and he hands me the controller and I couldn't drive it, and I'm just that drove me nuts. And all right, I gotta get one. So I ended up picking up a MST, I think it was an RMX 2.0, used from another good buddy of mine named Peyton. Bought it from him, and then it's just RTR, so crappy electronics and all that stuff. And but it got me started, and it just kind of evolved from there until I bought a SX3 myself, and just started building that and driving it. And then at the time, I would say this is 2021 ish, 2022, somewhere around there. No, it's 2022. There were only 2 drift tracks in Texas at the time. So that I knew about. One was, I think, of course, drift, or the lounge in Corpus. Bunch of awesome dudes down there. Shout out to Sean. and all those guys. And then I think it was Dark. It was them and Dark at the time. Shout out to Steve and Angel over at Dark. But I was like, man, I really want to drift track. And so I decided to do a career path change and found some cheap property in a small town called Somerville, next to a huge lake. But anyway, found a building, got a track. I knew that I would have to, supplement the income with something else a little bit. So I became a Traxxas dealer and a Horizon dealer and all that stuff. And to help, cover what I really wanted was a drift track. Started doing that in Somerville, Texas. And then we outgrew that store after about a year. And then we decided to move into because there's really no hobby shops around that small area.
Okay.
And then, but THS opened up before I opened up, and which was cool. And shout out to Joe and them, awesome people over there.
Joe's in the chat.
Heck yeah. But anyway, so yeah, and ended up moving to College Station, Bryan, to a much bigger location, the one you see right here. And started it out with J-Tile. Ordered that direct from Super G at the time, and
nice.
Got it nice and broken in, and just been in business ever since. Over 3 years now in business, and I started, obviously own my own track, so I've been driving almost every day, and just learning how to tune, and been a mechanic for a long time, so that stuff fascinates me. So it's tinkering and adjusting, and just that whole part of it is probably what I love the best.
Is that what you came from, like, in your previous career?
Yeah. So I was mechanic professionally for almost 20 years, and then got into this, and it's it's just been a whole lot of fun, and it's one of those hobbies that I can say that you can actually see yourself grow the more you do it. And there's some hobbies that aren't like that. You kind of hit a wall. And with I feel like with RC drifting that, like, it just, you can kind of, the more you do it, the more you see yourself get better and learn something new and just advance. Like that, I haven't hit a wall yet. So it's just, you just get better and better. The more you drive, the more you tune, the more you play with it, mess with it, you just get better and better. So, but yeah, that kind of drove my passion to open up a shop and all that good stuff.
When you were just as a mechanic and into RC, was there interest in drift, like in IRL drift at all, or was it just kind of through RC that you found drift? So
I've always been a Japanese car nerd, I guess you could say. So I've always been a car guy. Started with Hondas since I had my driver's license, and got in a lot of trouble with those. And then that kind of evolved to other cool cars. And so I've always been a car guy. I've always been kind of in the drift, real drift, 1-to-1. Yeah. And then like I said, my buddy Travis, he shows me this RC drift car with a gyro on it with crazy steering angle, and I'm just like, that's pretty cool. And then I couldn't drive it, and it just led from there, and it just grew from there. So, but yeah, a lot of car background, just cool. Japanese car background and stuff like that. That helps, I think, when you're getting into drifting. But yeah, that definitely helped. So helped.
Yeah, I think just having just the kind of mechanical mindset for sure. Yeah, especially you have so many people that come in off the street, they've never built anything in their life, and then it's like, yeah, here's a box chassis that is not set up at all for you. So good luck with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It helps to have a local track where those newer people can go to, and people working there, or just people that go there, can set their car up well first go around. That makes a huge difference on their learning curve too. I always call it the frustration phase when you start drifting. Yes. I always tell people, if you can get past the frustration phase, you're golden. You just got to get past it.
There's a real stiff barrier to entry, and there's a real high turnover rate for people getting into it. And the key factors, the recipe for success is, and this is part of why, like in myself, I knew about RC cars since I was a little kid, and I knew there were like hobby grade people doing RC drift for a long time, like probably when it was just 4-wheel drive, touring cars. But that whole era, I knew that where I was at geographically, there was just nowhere to do it. So I knew there was no community. There was no, if I was going to do it, it'd be investing all that money and then just kind of winging it. So
Yeah.
finally, when there was a track close-ish to me, then I was like, okay, now is the time where I can actually make this investment, because it'll be more worth it now, because I won't have to deal with all the learning as much.
For sure.
It's definitely part of the recipe, having a good track nearby.
Yes, definitely. Makes a big difference for sure.
So I like the little tidbit, I think for a lot of the tracks nowadays, especially, the reality kind of sadly is that you do need to find income outside of just selling track fees.
Yes. Yeah,
I think an issue that a lot of the tracks face too is that buying into those environments like Traxxas or Horizon isn't always the easiest thing either.
No, it's not. It takes a lot of upfront money to get that going. I was lucky enough to have a little bit of money put aside so I could do that, to get started with it. I was very blessed to be able to do that, period. But but no, it is extremely hard, in my opinion, for track owners. Ask any track owner, it's a passion project. It is not, we're not doing this to get rich. This is purely passion project. And it gets harder and harder every year, because us as track owners, we rely on sales to really keep the lights on, pay the rent. And it's getting harder and harder, I feel, every year, because it's so easy for a customer to add to cart on any website and ship it. It's getting easier and faster for people. I say customers, but for people, it's getting easier and easier for them to buy stuff online. And I don't blame them. Convenience is very attractive. So, that's something me and other, I think other track owners and that we're facing, and it's a constant battle. It's an uphill battle, but it's, so yeah, anyone that's watching, just definitely go support your local track, because it's very hard. It's very hard for us sometimes, and it's it means a lot when you come to us. And we may not have part in stock, but we'll try to get it ordered for you. We'll take care of you, stuff like that. So but that's my little PSA, I guess. But
I mean, that's something we always push, like the reality of, as a consumer of this hobby, we all know we all have thousands of dollars invested into this. So
exactly,
if you want to keep making that investment worthwhile, you need a place to drive.
Exactly.
And, if you don't support your local shop, then you're really only shooting yourself in the foot. So definitely something we're always pushing.
Yeah, no, exactly. And us, in Texas, I don't know how it is in other states, obviously, but in Texas, the track owners around Texas are really supportive of each other. We really try to back each other up. So so it's in terms of the hobby shop is the overdose. So we send customers their way if they need overdose parts, and then Tenho is the Rev D, or what I'm calling the Rev D track. So if anyone needs Rev D parts, send them that way. So on and so forth. So
that's really cool, because I definitely know of a couple other states where that is certainly not the case. California. I mean, even out here, like a lot of the time, like right now we're currently the only track, but there's been different eras where we're the first track out here that is actually by drifters. So definitely during times when places weren't owned by people that were actually in the hobby, those relationships don't really work out well. So they're always
I could definitely see that.
But no, that's cool, man. So how long has Garage RC been in business?
A little over 3 years now. We were planning on moving a couple times, but that didn't really work out. There's always something that doesn't get agreed upon or something. Getting a new lease is always kind of a pain in the butt. But
yeah.
I definitely want to grow it. As long as it works out on paper, kind of thing. So it's like any business. It doesn't make sense if we're not making enough money. So,
yep.
But right now we're doing good. So.
Good.
It's one of those things where, we just kind of see how it goes, but I want to keep it going. I love my passion for RC drift is very big. And I love it. It's hard to explain. It's kind of weird to some people, but it's I don't know. I always tell people, that don't quite get it, I'm like, man, if you watch YouTube, pull up an SDC round at Super G, or watch the world's recap at Super G, and you'll kind of see like how serious it is and stuff like that, and then they kind of get an idea, if they do watch that. But I went to Worlds in 24 and 25. I plan to go this year, so but yeah.
Speaking of SDC, I got to bring this up. We got to do a massive shout out to our boy Yogi Hamilton.
Oh, for sure.
Who just
first place.
He won outright SDC, I believe, round 3 for California.
That was round 2.
Round 2. Okay, so round 2.
I believe.
What an accomplishment. That's such a big deal for Yogi. He's a young kid, he's been grinding really hard. And that's, if you're going to win an event, that is the place to do it. I want to, hopefully we get Adam H in here, but I want to see some stats of because the list of names of people who win those rounds has to be very consistent. I remember, there's not too many unusual times where, names you haven't heard of before or haven't seen up there before show up, right? Like it's always the same people winning those rounds.
Well, just
even in the podium.
That podium by itself, right?
Yeah.
So Yogi number 1, Jason Fordyce number 2, and Alfredo 3, right?
Yeah, and
like those.
From what I believe I've been told, I think Yogi beat both of them. It's not always the case where the winner has beat both the guys on the podium in a battle. So. Yeah, shout out to Yogi. What an accomplishment. That's sick. So proud of that kid.
That's awesome.
Hopefully him and his pops are going to both come on the podcast, and I believe they're trying to come up to Drift to Death as well. So
sick.
Should be cool.
Speaking of Drift to Death, speaking of Tokyo Drift, Drift to Death.
Tokyo Drift to Death.
First weekend in August?
Yeah, 7th, 8th, and 9th.
There you go.
Second week. I believe, actually, technically, because it's I think it starts on
one of those dumb things. I gotcha.
But that's going to be sick. We're working on that. We have all of our ducks in a row lined up for that, so it's going to be cool. I can announce now, we're going to try to do ticket sales online for that this year. Obviously, you'll always be able to come day of and show up. Pending, there's a couple key factors in that. Space is an issue, and we don't exactly know how much space we're going to have at this point in time. But it's looking like it won't be an issue, but it could that could change. But we are going to do is basically the main pit area is going to be open for we're going to have VIP tickets. That's going to pit you right next to the track in the main pit room, and then everything else will just kind of be in a different location, still close obviously, but not in that main room. and you're gonna get a bunch of cool like swag with that. So look out for that to be available. Should be within the next few weeks. Hopefully we can get the tickets up and start moving on that stuff. Should be cool.
Do we know if that's going to be through RC Drift IO or is that going to be private, like another means?
It will be probably just on the current Drift PDX shop, or it's like Squarespace website.
Right on.
Heartbreak table in the VIP section. So if you guys buy your tickets, if you buy your VIP tickets first, then yeah, I don't see why not. But I don't know the exact number. I want to say it's around 25 for VIP slots. So there's very few, and we'll make sure you guys are on it when we put up tickets, so you can have your table. And day of, when it comes down to it, we can if we have to try to slam some extra people, in there, that's fine too.
You're not counting my table in that part, right?
No. I'm talking. This is just the back main pit room.
Okay.
None of the side rooms are involved in this, I don't think.
None of the Oil Boys room.
Yeah, Oil Boys room in the office and all that will be not included in that. And then hopefully the plan is we'll have a whole nother unit like we did last year to throw pit tables in. But,
I'll pit out of my car.
yeah, so far so good. Basically, it's another unit in the building that's been empty for a year and a half, and fingers crossed it stays that way, and the landlord will let us use it again. We also have the basement, so. But I'm telling you guys, this year on the track is going to be tight. The track is going to be tight. We only have so many. There's only like really two sides that people can stand on. So, yeah, track's gonna be tight, but it's gonna be fun. I'm glad you're coming, Nick. That's gonna be sick. All right, so we kind of talked through Casey's story a bit. Casey, I want you to try to stay involved, because as we go into Garrett, I know that it gets crazy if you've seen any of the pictures, but.
It does.
Yeah. Well, he has a lot of background in this. He was there through the whole development of a lot of this. So
feel free to jump in. Feel free to jump in, Casey. But we'll move to Garrett now. So Garrett, first question to you is, how did you end up at Garage RC the first time, man?
Well, yeah, I was looking for RC drift tracks in the middle of nowhere, and he popped up. So. No.
That was it.
It was in the middle of nowhere.
It was there was nothing out there. It was next to the titanium, or not titanium, the railroad tie track.
Yeah.
Factory, I guess, or so.
Cool.
Sometimes kind of stunk a little bit.
Yeah, they make creosote railroad ties in that town.
Nasty.
So, so about twice a week it stinks bad.
Yeah.
No, so I was out in College Station for I was studying mechanical engineering there.
So you're an Aggie.
Yeah.
Why did you say that with regret?
There's no regret. You
kind of sound like you're not stoked to be an Aggie.
My brother just graduated 2 weeks ago, but I did not graduate. So I dropped out after one semester to get into manufacturing.
I got you. Okay, that's okay. Hey man,
because I knew I wanted to create my own brand, my own company.
Yeah.
And
which is a common case.
And I don't think I need a piece of paper to hire myself.
That has never been more real than in 2026. I think
I have all the respect in the world for people who go through college, but
yeah,
it wasn't right for where I think I want to end up. But I was there. I had gotten into RC drifting my senior year of high school, working at this hobby town in Austin, and there was a guy there named Brad.
Dang, you grew up in Austin and then you went to. Damn, dude, that's crazy.
So there's a guy named Brad. He was quite the character. Anyone in Austin who's been in the drift scene or San Antonio probably knows him. But he was into drifting. Let's just leave it at that. And I thought it was really cool, the most scale cars that I had seen. I'd always liked drifting and watched Formula Drift and stuff. So, but yeah, I ended up at Casey's shop just because that was the closest one. And, if it weren't for him, I think I'd still be in college, But
way to go, Casey.
Thanks.
No, I want to comment on the whole college thing. Like, first of all, you chose to leave. I was told I couldn't come back, so big ups to you there. I think you're right in that there's a very it's a realization that a lot of people that are very rich now have made, which was, I'm only wasting time essentially here, like I think you have the vision of I could focus on school, or I could just start my business now and be that further ahead. So I think you shouldn't feel bad about not completing your degree or anything like that. Is my point.
No, I'm not very happy with where my career's headed right now. But yeah, I mean, I started RC drifting in high school, and I used my senior engineering project as an excuse to buy everything. Because as a high schooler, I had very little funds.
No budget. We had no budget.
And so I used taxpayer dollars to help fund my first RC drift chassis, because we got a little bit of funding from the school for our project. So to anyone in Austin, you paid for my first RC drift car.
And if you're in Austin in high school still, you can get a free RC drift car.
You can get a free RC drift car. It's the best thing in the world. No, but so I had seen this. My coworker Brad, he was infatuated with D-like, and the scale drifting side of things. And so when I realized how expensive it was to get into that weight shift side of things, I decided I wanted to make a more affordable route into that. And if you want to pull up some of these pictures,
where am I starting?
We can start on the second group of pictures up with the
should be a solid piece of brass.
Yeah, a solid piece of brass and white styrene with Velcro straps. It's good stuff. High tech.
I was definitely impressed when I first saw it. I was like, wow, that's pretty sweet. He goes, yeah, that's titanium. And I'm like, what? Like, dang. All right.
Hold on, because second setup, they all run together, by the way.
They all run together. There's a lot there. Right above the graphs.
Okay. All the way down there.
And that, what you hit on too is a thing, I have the same thing where you're like, oh, that thing that I want is really expensive. How about instead I do something that is arguably more expensive and make it myself?
Exactly. And you spend all of your time working on this project when you could be doing 3 other things in this amount of time. But
it's sick.
So
wait.
That was the first shell that I painted. Is the team associated
In a truck.
Huna truck. But yeah, we had
There we go.
these. I was researching how the D-like RER weight shift stuff was looking, and I also was just
Okay,
watching
so yeah, these are like
hours.
pictures after that. You're making your DIY D-like.
Quick question. Do you have any DIY multi-links?
I did. I never got any pictures of them because there was too much slop in the way I'd made it, so never quite worked out. I'd be interested to revisit that now, but yeah, we pulled up this was the first prototype using old Sprint 2 parts that have been chopped up and bolted to a brass plate to get a really similar system to how the D-like has their weighted differential in the front. And I mean, obviously it drives completely different to a D-like, but it gets the same kind of thing going. The center of torque is way different. In a D-like, it's almost in the middle of the car, but with this one, with everything towards the rear, and that rear motor, it's around the rear of the car, so it's a little different, but I didn't know any better. I didn't go to any tracks, and so I was doing this all in the engineering room at my high school. I taped down a track in the spare engineering room and would spend pretty much all the time I could there. Any off period and any, some lunches, just working on the car. And I do kind of feel bad for my classmates there because, all they heard was this. And it's even louder because you have extra gears that aren't meshed very well. And so it's quite the...
What did the teacher think about all this?
Oh, she thought it was great. Yeah. I mean, so my other classmates in this capstone class were not overachievers. But let's just put it like that. So
let's put it in a nicer way and just say they weren't quite like you.
They weren't.
I would describe you as sweaty, and don't take that the wrong way.
They weren't as sweaty. They
okay.
But even to the class standards, they had done none of them ended up succeeding, which was kind of unfortunate. But mine ended up working, and so this was the first prototype. Then if you
what was the underground thesis of your project here?
So I called it the C-like, and it was it was designed to be a affordable entry into the scale drift simulation, I guess. I don't quite remember the exact wording that I used, but I of course made it.
You were basically looking for the performance of a D-like in a C-like cost. Right.
And so the end goal would be you have this 3D printed kit that anyone could put on their YD2.
So is that what like these graphs are? Is that like comparing D-like data to C-like data, or?
So no, because I had no money, so there was no way I was gonna get
right.
a D-like.
And have a sample D-like.
No, these graphs are trying to compare with it on versus with it off. And I put these in my presentation and tried to make it look cool, but there's so much vibration going on in this car that it's just a mess.
Yeah.
So there's almost nothing useful to get out of this data, but
yeah,
I really tried to squeeze it for all it was worth.
This is kind of goes back to something I learned when I was trying to make like Android kind of FD light kind of situation, where it change the LED lights based on G forces, or whatever, gyro you're measuring. And this is what you get. It turns out the signal to noise ratio on RC cards is really challenging.
It's quite rough. Yeah. And so if you look at the picture below that, we have the
purple,
beautiful purple, 3D printed, just to make sure everything fit. And then when I was in high school, I would go to the climbing gym after school and just do all my homework there. And so some of that homework was working on this car, and so I'd bring my car to the climbing gym and be doing CAD modeling or whatever there. And I met this guy playing ping pong who
wait you went to the climbing gym to work on an RC car and play ping pong?
It doesn't make any
sense. I met this guy playing ping pong.
How are we like why are we at the climbing gym if we're working on homework, and then why is there a guy playing ping pong?
Well, when you take a break, you got to get the blood flowing,
Yeah.
So I go play ping pong,
but we're still at a climbing gym for no reason. Are we climbing at any point?
You climb at like 10:30, right before it's about to close.
Okay.
After you finish your homework.
So climbing is the last thing you do. So you finish all your work and then
just homework.
But if you have to take a break and get the blood flowing, you play ping pong.
Not climb.
Don't
That's
climb.
hilarious.
Okay.
Now we're talking about bouldering, or are we talking about like lead, belay, like climbing?
This was mostly bouldering there.
Okay. Anyway, back to it.
I mean, I do lead as well nowadays, but back then it was just bouldering. And so this guy, turns out he was a machinist.
Okay, so this is like the core link.
And so meeting a guy playing ping pong at a climbing gym, he was able to. He said, "Hey, I can help you out with this project."
Wow,
and
that's cool.
So if we go up to these top pictures of the metal version.
Okay.
No, keep further than that. That was like maybe V3.
The actual machine parts.
The actual machine parts. And so he helped me.
Hold on.
Wrong way.
He's gonna get there.
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay. So he helped me to create these parts in real life. And I went to the machine shop on a weekend, and we machined these parts together. And this was the first time I ever was inside a machine shop.
Dude, shout out to that guy.
For real.
Alex Chavez, he is a real one.
What's the name of the shop?
Traxxas Manufacturing. It's where I work right now.
Wait,
is that related to the?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No. That's funny.
How's it spelled?
I asked the same.
What a coincidence. But
yeah, that's ridiculous.
it's Traxxas with an I.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh.
So, but yeah, Alex Chavez, he's a really cool guy. He works at Jesse James, West Coast Choppers shop in Austin now, doing the firearms and custom choppers there. Very cool guy. But he introduced me to machining, and this was the final version that I presented. But if you look up one picture above these with my drill that I used as a lathe to make this flywheel
Oh God.
pulley thing out of washers that I super glued together.
Oh God.
So,
How
you know,
much?
yeah.
How much mass are you spinning with this?
I don't know where that flywheel is. It's probably just gone, but I made a brass one after the school year when I had this internship at the machine shop, and that one's about 50 grams. And so the whole system on there is about 200 grams. So it's a chunky boy, for sure.
It's a fat battery right there.
I think that's
Yes,
kind
yeah.
of, but so just let's not brush over the heavy flywheel situation. That's kind of part of like
That's the
achieving
point.
the
Yeah.
driving characteristics of a
course.
D-like.
And I mean, I was really very close to a weight of a D-like. I mean, I was 1,800 grams, and the heaviest it got was I think close to 2,000 grams. So it was a very heavy car. But D-likes can get just as heavy. So
That probably
For
puts
sure.
you into a better situation with springs though, because you can either use D-like or D-like springs specifically.
yeah, you definitely could have. But I didn't because I had no money.
Of course you didn't. Of course you didn't. You probably made your own springs. I would guess.
No, these are just the stock Yokomo springs.
Oh wow.
Just changing motion ratio to get the motion, The movement that we wanted. But I had like this awful Protec servo.
Yeah, I see that.
And I'm amazed that I was able to drive that thing, to be honest. But I didn't know any better. And so when I went into Casey's shop, I was blown away by how his cars drove. And I was like, I need to get my car to drive like this.
The thought of you like doing all this on your own with nobody else and then showing up at a real track and be like, oh,
Hey,
what
check
the
this
fuck?
out, guys. Check
Oh,
this out.
shit.
But personally, I was blown away when I first saw it. I saw all the machining, and I'm like,
Damn,
all right,
yeah.
that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Do you remember how it
And,
drove, though?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, like if I compare the way my cars drove that long ago to now,
Right.
No,
But-
but they were very front grip heavy.
yes, yeah.
And so there was a lot of control in them.
I just love the idea of him showing up with this much work into a chassis, like machined parts,
Yeah.
custom machined parts, having
Yeah.
never been to a track, never driven a like decently put together drift car.
So actually, I did go to a track once.
Okay.
This was the soft I got invited by Brad to the soft opening of the hobby shop.
Okay.
And I was trying to drive it there. There was absolutely impossible. This was at the very start before I even had any of this stuff on the car. So it was just the stock white E2, but with awful electronics. I had like a Castle, SCT4.
Oh
Yeah.
geez.
But
Just like, yeah,
that's what's
short
funny
truck
about
motor.
it is this is like this is basically the first RC drift car that you had. Yeah. So you've built this crazy interpretation of a D-like, and you show up at a shop and they're like, what the fuck? Oh, that's just so funny to me.
But so I pitched this idea to Joe at the hobby shop while I was there. And he was really down with it. But that's about then. I think that's when he got his diagnosis. So that kind of fell through.
I mean, so like I said, it's just and he never came back. Damn.
Joe, I love you. You're the best.
It's just like put yourself in the shoes of not even Joe. Joe doesn't even know what he's talking about when it comes to drift cars, but
Oh, come on.
Hey, it's just, there's truth to that. There's truth to that.
But like, I just can't imagine showing up at Super G. Like, you know how people are at a drift track, right? Like everyone's kind of like.
Well, so yeah, I brought the
It's
first time
funny.
I brought this to a track. It was at San Antonio, and there was one guy there. But I was visiting grandparents, and there was one guy there, and he just, I think he was also really new, or something, because he didn't like react at all to it, which I thought.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just what he thought is normal then, which is quite.
But so like, imagine what's the typical like new driver show up? They typically are going to show up with like an MST.
Yeah.
Now imagine a new driver shows up with this, and you're like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you mean it drives bad? I think it drives great.
I see this and I'm like, okay, this guy must have had years into the hobby to like even want to try to do this.
That was my
That's
first
a crazy path to your first drift car.
I needed an excuse to get a drift car.
Yeah.
So, like I probably could have just done something where it was just a brown, like setting and tuning it up. And
I mean, even the
setup
model
of
that
that
you
car.
chose to replicate is crazy.
Yeah.
I just thought they were so cool that, is the best thing in the world. So, after showing up at Casey's shop and being like, okay, this is not working.
What happened then? Yeah.
I ended up taking out the flywheel system, but I kept the high battery, and then I modeled a front end off of because back then he was running Rhino Maxes. That was his main car. And so I liked how his car felt. So I modeled the front end off of a Rhino Max. And if you go up to the next set of pictures.
Hold on. Is the purple thing before or after?
The purple thing was before with the turbofan thing.
Yeah.
That was before. Unfortunately, that never made it into production.
Yeah. What is that?
Well, D-Like has
Definitely doesn't look as pretty.
D-Like has their little fan thing, and I wanted to do that. So I made a turbo.
I never saw those pictures.
What is that for?
It's for making noise.
Okay, it's just a noise thing.
I remember
What else
you
did I
talking,
do for it?
I remember you talking about that, but I never got to see it. So
Yeah, it never ended up working.
Well, there it is.
But this is a RC Drift Talk exclusive. First look. And those drive shafts are from a Slash.
Okay.
They're the transmission drive axles.
You need to keep exploring this path. I feel like if you can make a like analog turbo noise system on a real car or on a real drift chassis, people will buy that up.
100%.
Wait. The whistle or the blow off valve?
Like compressor surge, dumping, anything, any kind of turbo noise you can replicate.
Yeah, we'll
In an
create
analog
a
way. People will
spur
buy
cover. We'll make a spur cover, limited edition,
it. Yeah.
titanium.
It'll just have like a whole bunch of vertical fins sticking out the side of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving up.
Moving up on our timeline, we have this thing.
Okay.
Which this is like the next evolution of the car. And so I have a 3D printed front end with geometry that matches a Rhino Max. And I started out with it as, I don't have any pictures of it, but I had a McPherson conversion for a YD2.
Oh, cool.
And that kind of drove pretty good. But it didn't have the same weight transfer that it had. So I removed it to A-arm, but it has the same.
I like how you say
You know what I mean?
and specifically use the word geometry instead of just like throwing like a YD2 front end on it. Like the word specific to geometry, matching angles and whatnot, not not like, oh, I'm just gonna put like a Yokomo LTS front end on this thing. Oh, he's frozen.
Yeah, I think that's the point. He's just copying. He's not just throwing parts on there. He designed bulkheads to mount the suspension pins in a way that they would match the geometry of a shark.
No, Rhinomax specifically,
No,
right?
Rhinomax.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Rhinomax.
Yeah. Can you all hear me?
I hear
all right
Rhino
now?
and I just hear
Yeah,
shark.
you're there.
Okay. Yeah, and this was before the LTS, so I had no idea what they were doing. This was really just to copy the D-like geometry. Well, like high.
Rhinomax.
Actually, no, Rhino. Yeah, but I guess Rhino also had those high arms because of the McPherson.
Is
I
the
had to show
Rhinomax before Logan's time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what a Rhinomax is, but they definitely came out and were all sold by the time I had a drift car.
Yeah. Casey's holding the one right there.
There you go.
That's the one that I took measurements off of.
So fun fact, Peyton and I both drove these at Worlds in 2024.
Nice.
Everyone thought we were crazy, and we were like, "No, we're rocking Rhinomaxes." They actually did really well. So
you're on Adam's list.
yeah. So no, I love this chassis a lot. But one day I'll put it back together.
I absolutely loved how that car drove. And every time I was there, also when I was in college, oh man, Casey is such a nice guy. I had no money to pay for track fees. So when I was there, I would sweep the track
Yeah.
to pay for my track fee.
Take the trash out and
Take the trash out.
kind of work
Yeah.
there.
Do the chores.
sweep
and
the
you can
counter.
drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then down the line we started making some lights and like accessories for the track and stuff.
Yeah, we did street. Yeah, well, you designed street lights, and then at one point the whole track had street lights. It was pretty sick.
Yeah.
I really liked those. I'd love to bring them back, but I don't know if that's gonna happen at the current track with how often we change the layout.
Yeah, it'd be cool to have like one track for scale and then
Yes.
one track for
Mhm.
comp.
This is the dilemma of all track owners. Like, you
Have
don't
y'all-
want to have, like, we as drivers, I don't know. I get bored with the layout after like 2 months.
Same.
But obviously some people, I'm not into it as much, but a lot of people are into the scale feel of a track and they want to do a lot of like semi-permanent modifications. And I'm just like, no, leave it all off there so we can change the layout whenever we want.
Yeah. Have y'all
Yeah.
seen that place? I think it's somewhere in Europe, but it has this really, really nice tailgate track. That's all multi-level and
Yeah,
everything.
plenty of places. Like if you have the space, you can do like Rolling Garage used to have, or like I know the place that used to be the Yokomo Arena had. You know, you have your GP track, which is like your comp, just clean floor, tape lines, layout, and then you have your scale track where you put down the layout and then really build it out for scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Street Break and check out that track.
Right. That's like the golden example of scale.
Yeah.
in the US.
Yeah. I guess.
That's a mill action.
Yeah. This video here. These are the first knuckles I designed. Right before. They're non-adjustable, but they're ultralight, and they give you like maximum angle because I was all about that when I, coming from the Rhinomax geometry, past 90 on your leading wheel and stuff like that, which is not necessary, but
I think
we live and we learn.
we get to 90 and we'd be happy, and even if you don't, like, I think if you get to 89 you'd be happy.
Yeah,
you
but
definitely don't
okay.
want to go past. I think going past is just pointless.
Well, I could pull out of anything. I mean that you'd go super slow, but
Yeah.
you would never get stuck at angle.
Once you're past 90, then you're like it's like a hockey puck on ice or something.
Yeah.
Going off slow and
I'm glad we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. But then I had this this really flexy aluminum deck, which I made.
Yes.
This was the version 1 of the decks.
Is that this one that we're looking at?
And yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, you can see the flex slots that go all the way halfway up the chassis. It was way too flexible.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Here, let me grab it. I'll show you. We have this guy,
Yeah.
and it's just
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
completely.
Yeah.
But and then it also like stays deformed because it's aluminum.
Yes.
But this led me down the rabbit hole of metal chassis, and kind of to where we are now.
Well, that's that right there. What you just showed us is how you get to titanium.
exactly
You don't want the elastic flex. You want
right. And after this, after I made this, I was showing it off to some people, and they were like, "Oh, it's just like the R Design one." I'm like, "What?
Yes.
Which one?" So I
So
look it up. And I'm like, "Ah, shit."
to be clear from up front, I was like, I was not working closely, but I like when our design stuff started coming out, I was in contact with that guy, and I quote unquote drove for him, and ran his products for a good amount of time. Yeah, obviously when I'm looking at this picture, I'm like, yeah, that looks pretty familiar, but
Yeah.
I
So,
like
I
my
don't
comment
know
on that
if
is
I'll
I don't
know
think
if I'll really go into production, like large scale production, with a design like this, just because I don't want to, try to step on too many people's toes. And I really,
well
looking at his design, I really appreciate how much work has gone into that.
for one, our design no longer exists, so yeah, send it. But
Really? What?
yeah, he's done.
Okay.
He moved on. I would say that he moved on to bigger and better things.
Yeah. I mean,
But too, also like ISOGrid is not that novel of an idea.
no,
you know what I mean? So-
ISOGrid is not like a trademark thing, but
No.
I mean, we'll see. I think there's more unique ways that I've been exploring some more creative chassis designs that
And-
maintain the
yeah.
same properties that I get out of the current ISOGrid chassis.
This setup, honestly, like this format had some flaws. I think the biggest one was that depending on the chassis, it really mattered. It really depended on the top deck, how the top deck worked. But some of the ISOGrid kits were too flexy. Like in particular, the RDX version, just because of how the RDX top deck worked,
Yeah.
it was way too flexible. So,
Right.
even on the stiffest setting.
One thing I will say about ISOGrid in relationship to, like, it's been designed and used in engineering scenarios in aerospace to create lightweight structures out of oh man, I can't even remember the word right now, but solid materials, non-composite materials.
Yes,
that
I see what you mean.
That have the exact same strength in every single direction.
Yes.
And so when you make that out of carbon fiber gets its strength from the single strands that are stretched across the length of your part. And when you break that up, you're really kind of, getting rid of most of the structural integrity of that carbon fiber.
Right, because the only solid fibers or whatever is untouched, basically. So you have essentially a very thin layer of actual strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at, I come from a background of mountain biking. I've been doing that way longer than drifting. And in that world, you have a carbon frame, which is really stiff and strong, but it transfers a lot of vibration. And so as you're going down the trail, you feel everything, right? But when you go to these metals, and especially titanium, it's very dense. It's denser than aluminum, but it's so strong that you can use way less to get a lighter structure.
One
density
thing that always trips people up, I think, is when they hold a part that's titanium versus a part that's aluminum. Maybe they're slightly different geometries, but like people always expect the titanium thing to be super light or something.
Yeah. And which it can be, but you have to remove a lot of material to get to there.
It's light because you can take more of it away. It's not light because it's just inherently light.
Yeah. But the advantage of the density when it comes to making a deck out of it is that density absorbs vibration. And so when you go in even road biking world, you have these boutique.
Oh, we lost his connection a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Try again. Rewind.
Y'all, am I here?
So you just said we heard you say something about the biking world.
In the biking world, you have these boutique frame builders building their frames out of titanium.
Yeah.
Which gives a much, if you're looking to spend that much money, you're able to absorb those vibrations, get a much smoother ride. And so
using that can only be a benefit for gyros.
Exactly. I mean, in terms of gyros, in terms of the smoothness and keeping that consistent suspension, I guess just reaction, like it is slightly less stiff than carbon. And so, especially with these modern chassis like the RDX, everybody's going for maximum rigidity, which, there's a lot to be said about rigidity and that helping consistency when in terms of like just using your suspension. But I would argue that once you get to a point, you're really not improving your ride other than placebo. Just because of the weight of these is not very much. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, these are light things that are not going very fast. Yeah. And the forces involved are not that high.
Yes.
So as long as your transmission...
This is why like LTS cars exist, because we have to do everything we can to get some semblance of body roll. Yeah.
And so as long as your drivetrain can transfer your motor power without flexing, I think having just a rigid enough, and you can determine how much that is, but I think some drivers are going a little overboard nowadays, running like the double top decks and everything.
Pico, I see you. You're being called out.
There's a lot to be said about the placebo effect.
There definitely is. So just to break that down for some people that are watching, there is a limit to, like, your chassis only needs to be so stiff. Once you get beyond a certain point, it literally is effectively doing nothing for you, basically.
But everyone likes a rigid deck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's,
thanks for that.
That's this current
we
generation.
We definitely want it to be hard and stiff.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. I think we can, if you go up to this next set of pictures of all the titanium stuff.
Of all the titanium stuff. Okay. The colorful titanium stuff? Or your broken bit?
Yeah, we can start at the broken ones. This is an example of some of the struggles you go through when from aluminum to machining titanium. Titanium, especially, so I went with grade 2 titanium. It's most commonly used in marine industries. But a lot of people will know of grade 2 and grade 5 in terms of bolts. And the way that the grade 5 has much higher tensile strength. 5. Uh-oh.
We're losing you a little bit.
Ah, no.
Nope, you're there. We're back. Oh, yeah. I see your fan moving. Not anymore.
I can try to switch to my computer.
That might be ideal.
And this is why we say Ethernet connected computers are for the win.
Yes. Yeah, let's do computer switch, and we'll just blabber while we're waiting. If you can still hear me.
I've got a good little blab thing here.
Let's blab.
In Product Watch, let me get this pulled up here. So if you haven't seen, our buddy Austin here, is doing a new thing.
Yeah, full send voltage. So custom charge leads, which I think something everyone in the RC community would be interested in. You know.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited to check out his product. I purchased some, so yeah, I'm excited to check it out. I'm gonna toss them on the charger right when I get them, and toss what I have in the bag as a spare.
Yeah, I remember when I was getting into RC, it was like, I was like, oh man, it'd be so cool to have a custom charge lead, and then like what we talked about earlier in the podcast was like, oh yeah, those are too expensive. Let me spend more money and make my own. And yeah, fortunately, I didn't get very far down that path and just bought the cheapest charge leads I could find. So,
and these are custom sleeved. Austin does have a good selection of different sleevings that you can choose from.
Nice.
I haven't seen them in person because I haven't been to Portland to PDX in like a month. So
yes, we'll be able to show you guys more of like what these actually look like in person soon. But knowing Austin, I have full faith that they will be very solid in terms of construction. Yeah, so he's in here in chat. Plenty of color options. I'm sure he will work with you to make what you want. Whatever connectors you need. And cool. So definitely hit up full send voltage. Austin, I don't know if you have it yet, but at least drop your Instagram or something. Yeah, the world needs to know. First of all, DJ, what are you working on?
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, someone said it in chat. Someone said it in chat earlier, but I replied in chat. If you didn't read it, I'm under the knife right now with a body.
Put it in the chat, Austin.
Under the knife.
And then, yeah, right now I'm going to be doing a kickflip and a tray flip. So that's probably working.
We're upgrading DJ from kickflips to tray flips, thanks to Aza. And we told him this right before the show started, so he was embarrassed about. He was embarrassed. Oh yeah, we're doing reframing, so bear with us.
Thank you.
DJ was embarrassed about being seen practicing the tray flips, so he didn't get any practice in. So let's see how this goes.
I'll just leave it like this for now.
Framing actually.
You've got the full entirety of that corner there, so I'm gonna.
Yeah, dude, that's actually great framing. I need to, take a screenshot of that and buy another camera and place it right there.
Okay.
Just for
first try.
Yeah, dude, just for kickflips. Literally just for kickflips. It's probably too much light. I don't know if I can do that.
Kind of first try.
Kickflip.
Rebate.
I mean, I ran into the little crevice. Come on, guys. Give me some credit. All right. Tray flip. I'm not ready for this.
Nope.
Oh. Oh gosh.
Oh no.
It's there, but it's not there.
I don't think it's there, bud.
Give me some time, guys. I maybe next stream.
This never happened. I swear.
Wow.
Maybe next stream. Next stream.
Chuck is asking for a 900.
DJ needs a blue pill, I think.
I think it's gone, dude.
Okay, let me start working on reframing and
the
stuff.
900 though.
Actually, I can work on reframing elsewhere. This will kind of work. Back to the story.
Back to the story.
Grade 5 titanium.
So, we have, grade 2 titanium has the same stiffness as grade 5. So in this scenario, it's not a downgrade, and it helps attempt to keep it as economical as we can. The key word here is attempt. This is a higher end part. Let's just I make it as cheap as we can, but we have some pretty high standards in terms of how we want our the machining. We don't do any tumbling or such like that. So it's raw machine finish. Gosh, I don't think y'all can hear me again.
Yeah,
No, you're good.
No,
You're good.
you.
Okay.
I'm just focused on reframing and the other scene here, so.
Oh, Logan's not there.
Right,
That's why.
so-
Everyone's talking.
Yeah, we
I'm looking
have
down.
grade 2 titanium is a very difficult material to machine. It's soft, but has a lot of internal friction, so it gets extremely hot. You need very, very good cooling, very, very good chip evacuation. And so, we had this picture up of an end mill that just had melted titanium wrapped up in it, because the second you get a chip stuck on your flute, it just, snowballs into catastrophe.
Because you need you need to be like cutting pieces off, and if that piece you're cutting off gets too hot, then it gets gummy and it sticks, and then everything.
There we go. Yeah,
it blows up. You're done. You don't want to be cutting like a soft material, and then that's just the worst case scenario. You also have a fire risk too, right?
Luckily, not really. If you set fire to some chips, they'll be pretty bright and they'll burn pretty cool. But I've never seen a video of it happening during a machine, like a part getting machined. But we can go with that. We can lean into that. It's super dangerous. And this is an extreme sport. So that's why we need extreme materials. And so, I'm risking my life to make these decks.
Yeah. I mean, look at what could happen. I'm surprised the end mill hung on for that, to be honest.
Yeah. I just knocked off the melted on stuff, and we keep going. So it was quite a tough little guy there. But this is also these pictures also are older fixtures that so that was just for one at a time, and so I'm working on
like self-conscious
RDX
about pictures.
Well, no, but like in terms of like right now, I'm selling these decks for $450.
Yeah,
for a one bottom deck, and
you're seeing why.
Like it's one at a time. It takes almost 8 hours to make one deck.
Yes,
it's more labor intensive than I'd like it to be. So
yeah,
we're working on new processes for the RDX decks that are about to get released. We're gonna get a few drivers testing them, and then hopefully we'll have a website up soon. We're redesigning our Golem decks, which is what you see in this picture here, on the Discord.
You even get the signature.
But
for anyone watching and hearing that price, all I have to say is that is very extremely reasonable for for a machine titanium part of that size with that much machine time.
Think of this.
Runtime on this has got.
If you were to get this anywhere else, runtime is 5 hours on one.
Yeah. So
and then we have
luck.
the finishing process. So anywhere else, I've got a few quotes to see if I could just do it somewhere else and maybe do it cheaper, but that's kind of not the point of me doing it. Like, I don't want someone else to. Anyways, I got quotes for about $1,300 a piece. So
yeah,
we're doing what we can,
and we don't have the quantities for that kind of value.
Mind you, that
we're
a screw kit just by itself is like $120, $150.
Yeah,
just a screw kit, you guys.
Sometimes $200 for
And
depending
I would imagine
on which one you go with.
Like, you're not even making 2 a day, really.
No. I mean, this is one a day kind of thing. And so these first 50, they're going to be part of what I'm calling the signature series. Just because I don't have a logo yet, so I'm putting my signature on there.
Oh, okay.
And there's only ever going to be 50 of them. Who's Toge Driver in the chat?
Toge Driver, name yourself.
If you
yeah, this is a phenomenon we have to deal with, is not knowing people's YouTube nicknames.
Yeah.
We can talk about this after, but
this,
if you need help with anything regarding your website or your logo, let me know.
Okay.
I can help you.
I think you have it pulled up on the stream, but this is a new finish that I'm experimenting with, and I think he has that deck.
Brian Lemmy.
Get in touch with me on Facebook. I'd love to get in touch with you. We can get some feedback on the decks. But
so
yeah,
I think,
if you go through some other pictures,
it would be beneficial for our chat to describe the anodizing process for titanium, and then we can describe this finish.
Right. Okay. So if you want to go to this, the top picture of the blue one, we can show that one off.
Top picture of the blue one.
With the odd wolf drift.
Wait. With the oddball.
Yeah. So like one of the earlier pictures, Adam. In
the plane.
Yeah.
This guy.
The plain blue one.
No. Next, further up, next to the Corolla, in the garage photo.
We get there.
Hold on.
But while we get there, I'll describe this finishing process. So we have to, extensively clean them. They have to be absolutely spotless,
like perfectly clean. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm. If you have a single fingerprint on it, it will show up in the finish.
Yeah.
And so then we take this electrolyte mix, and titanium has this really cool, phenomenon where when it corrodes in a controlled manner, it gets really cool colors. And I'm sure a lot of y'all are very familiar with that, in like its classic titanium look of faded colors.
Yes. So
but you're able to control.
Unlike aluminum, where you're talking about a dye that gets kind of infused into the surface.
Right.
With titanium, it's an oxidation layer that happens to be a certain color.
Mm-hmm. And so as that gets thicker, it refracts light in different ways to create the color. So what you're looking is like, it's actually a prism, kind of.
Victor.
And yeah, Victor's, I'm sure it's on there somewhere. But so this is controlled pretty easily, just via voltage.
Yes.
And it's
Charles,
an easy finish in terms of titanium. And some colors are much more difficult, and like green, this bright green that I've seen on like these JSM pinion gears.
Yeah.
They come in these bright green colors, and that's something I have yet to been able to achieve. But we get these nice blue colors, and on my deck I have a nice fade from yellow to purple to blue to this little like teal, and so you can get some really cool colors with the electro anodizing process. But we go back down to these crazy purple, blue.
Well, and then to get your lettering here that you have, that's another
right.
process.
So then we load it back into the machine, and we re-machine it to get those colors.
Re-zero it, and then you get that contrast. Mm-hmm. So anything that's engraved like that, just know that's a lot of work.
The engraving adds a lot to it, and so that's why I like to try to put the engraving on there, because it adds a lot of value and it makes people feel better about their purchase. It also somewhat reduces the resale value, but I didn't expect people to be selling them so quick, but alas. So if we go,
so
we have
I wanted, we were talking about the custom finish.
This is a process that is completely by hand, using a torch to heat up the material to really precise color, and heating it adds a layer of oxide as well, very similar to the electric anodizing. But once you get it to this certain temperature, you quench it in ferric chloride, which is what it's a very caustic acid used for etching Damascus blades and such like that.
So it basically eats away the oxide layer.
I don't know, because it gets a wild finish. With like these lightning strikes in it, and
so we're not really understanding the process by which that is produced.
I heat it up to golden brown, and then you quench it, and it comes out like this.
Okay, cool.
The hotter spots get more blue, and the colder spots are a little more purple.
Sick.
And it's very difficult to keep a consistent temperature because it's so thin, and it likes to reject. So it cools down super fast. So I'm looking into like maybe a
can you do
heat treat oven for knives?
Right.
To get a very controlled process, because right now I would not be able to offer this.
If you're just doing a blowtorch,
another $200 per chassis, which I don't want, because I like it. I think it's cool.
So a little disclaimer for myself: when you guys hear me saying things, this is me exploring how things work in my own head out loud. So when I talk, I'm not like speaking with fact. I'm just guessing and trying.
You've been pretty spot on for most of it. So
I'm not telling people how it is. I'm guessing. I'm trying to understand how I learn.
And so we have this one is Japanese for mistake, because this one is actually the one that had the issues with that end mill that blew up on it. And so this is probably I don't know, there might end up being more. I hope there's not more mistakes, but any more mistakes like B stock will be sold under this series. I mean, any people are still gonna buy it, and if I can give a discount, then
any production process is going to produce whatever you want to call them. In my company, we call them blems.
And so
there's no one shot. We made them all right, perfect first time. That doesn't exist.
So Casey's been pretty integral in the designing of this Golem deck. I'm not a Golem driver, but he is. And so he gave me the initial feedback on how to make this Golem deck. And then
Yeah, here's the prototype, the original prototype.
So what's your thoughts on it?
I personally, I like the aluminum deck. The prototype's aluminum, so that was just easier and cheaper to mill out, so we can test and see where everything was going to go. But the titanium, I mean, it's kind of like the early SD 1.0 LTSs. They had aluminum chassis, or the bottom deck was aluminum. They had, in my opinion, like a smoother feel when you were driving them. So that's kind of how I guess that's the only way I can compare the titanium decks is, in my opinion, there's like a smoother feel to them. That's really about it. And then the rigidity of it's really nice too, especially paired with the upper deck. And I think it was lighter, wasn't it, Garrett?
Yeah, they're a few grams lighter than the carbon.
Yeah, so
not the ultralight one, but the stock carbon.
What's lighter than the carbon?
Yeah, the titanium. The aluminum is extremely light. And it's actually the lightest option. But adding a 0.5 millimeter to the thickness, we've done the FEA, gets you within 2% of the rigidity of your titanium deck. So there may be an aluminum option,
being the non-elastic deformation, right?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more likely to
permanently deform,
break in a crash. I don't think it's going to be a problem in daily use, but if you crash, maybe. Victor asks, what is FEA? FEA is finite element analysis. It's simulation of bodies and forces to calculate how something's going to react in the real world.
Ever seen a rendering where there's like something applying, like something twisting? Our design had some. It's basically simulating forces on a body.
Back to our design. Like, I don't mean to dog on them too much here, because they were much more successful than I am.
Well, so just to give you some background information, let me give you some background. He was an industrial designer by degree, so not an engineer. Well, whatever you want to call it. His trade, his degree was not in a similar space.
But it's very, very, very difficult to properly simulate carbon or composites because they're not a uniform material. So they're still very useful for comparing, and that's, primarily what you use them for, comparing the stiff setting to the soft setting. But you're not going to be like, and even me, like with metal, which is more well suited to FEA, is not going to give you like, I want this amount of flex with my deck.
No,
you're not really going to figure that out. But if you have a known reference point that you can compare to, you can model and compare to, you can get some pretty accurate comparisons.
Yes,
and cool pictures to put on your website.
Yes, exactly. That's where I'm going with this. Is he was an industrial designer, so if you're not familiar, he was more of a, in terms of designing products, he was more on the marketing side than the engineering side. Is the simplest way that I can put that.
But not to say that there's anything wrong. Very beautiful.
Yeah, so I think he had a knack for definitely visuals, how things look. Mm-hmm. He was amazing at that, and I don't think he had zero engineering skills. I just wanted to make the point
I think he'd probably have more than me, to be honest.
Yeah,
more
I just wanted to make the point that his primary degree or whatever he was doing was not engineering. But
the large majority of my engineering skills have been developed through self-teaching. Rather, I mean, when I was at A&M for engineering, I didn't ever get into mechanical stuff. They teach you mostly software first semester stuff. So
when I bring up like you said, when I bring up our design had screenshots of like some FEA stuff, and that's more. I think that's more like you said. It's more kind of for show than anything else, but. That's what FEA is. It's anytime you see that screenshot where something's twisting and there's like color gradients on a part, what you're doing is you're telling the computer, here's my model, here's a force, tell me where the stress is, basically. And it's kind of how you assess where your object that you've designed is going to be strong or weak or anything like that.
Here, I've uploaded some pictures of my FEA.
Exactly.
And so this is just the color on here is how much deflection you're getting.
Yeah.
And so these are the two different chassis, the aluminum and titanium next to each other. I honestly don't remember which is which, but you can see max deflection 2.496 and then 2.415. So very, very, very similar in terms of actual stiffness there.
Yeah. And like you were saying, it doesn't necessarily give you a realistic real world picture, but it tells you how one design compares to another.
Right. And we measured it in the real world. We bolted them or clamped them down to a table, and then we put a little weight on the end and measured the deflection there. And we had, it was almost identical to what we got in the FEA.
So it's always a situation where you need to compare it against the real world before you accept it as truth.
Yeah. But we have everybody likes their golem circles, so I put together a titanium circle of the four existing decks at the time.
So I wanted to go back to that picture because I see something there, the four golems. So it looks like you're experimenting with like a single carbon fiber rod as the top deck.
Yeah, so
tell me about that.
It's two golems, and then the two other chassis, those are my own design. These are ground up chassis.
Oh, wow.
That I've been working on and eventually would like to release,
Yeah. That being the carbon fiber rod upper deck ones, or are those the golems?
The carbon fiber deck upper.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll stay with that as it's kind of limited in some ways. And I have, I've created some different braces, so you get a good amount of rigidity, but it's not quite the same.
But I think what that does, and correct me if I'm wrong, so on the MD2, they did a attachment on the stock version of the upper deck where it was on a bearing, basically. And I think from how I understand this is what you're looking at is basically not allowing, for lack of a better term, you're not allowing the chassis to taco, but you are allowing it to twist.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
these chassis twisted? They twisted a lot, and at that time,
I would imagine there's basically zero.
I was
resistance.
I was into that at the time, and I mean, I felt like it really, gave you a different feel on transition, which I kind of intended to enjoy at the time. But I've now created like a brace, and I don't know if we have that in any of the newer pictures. I don't think it shows it super well. Yeah, not really, but we have a brace that reduces that side to side twist.
Okay.
But you can move it forward and back, and
I just love seeing that though, because
how much twist you have.
I love seeing this because you're like, this is what this hobby needs, is for people to explore extremes, and that turnbuckle upper deck design, that's extreme. But like we need people to go there to understand why certain things aren't good or are good characteristics. And that's an extreme,
to a degree, I did that out of necessity. The first one I didn't even like design it in CAD. I just on the aluminum lower deck, it was so floppy that I needed to have something to hold, because I had before I had the carbon lowers with those side rails on the YD2S, because it shares a YD2 bolt pattern. I mean, as almost all chassis are some variation of that. With RDX is so similar. I mean, you just need 2 bolt holes in the front and it's the exact same. So I think it's an industry standard that is pretty good to follow, and it gives the consumer a lot more flexibility in terms of what they want to do. And I mean, I've seen Casey, he's put together these, random contraptions with like RDX front end and like top line rear and
well, I think
whatever, but it gives you the flexibility.
There is definitely big marketable features are things that are very user adjustable. Because people are like, we all have the instinct of, we don't like to be told how something should work. Even if a company sold a car that was 100% fixed, and you kind of had that with the original RDX, but people don't want that. People don't want you to tell them what they should do. They want to get there on their own. Basically. Yeah.
One thing that I'm also pretty proud about, and that's in these pictures, is the wireless battery tray.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah, that thing's pretty cool.
If we can pull up a picture of one of those.
Yeah. Do you have a preferred one?
Not one of those top down, or that one of them from the side in a row.
Okay. Let's switch.
Good view of it.
You're still using that battery mount, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. It's kind of.
So you're
on that first part. There's blue.
Are you just putting the battery onto terminals, basically?
Right. You're retaining the battery using the terminals instead of some other system, because we don't need to hold these in like you do on a buggy or Thrasher. Like we're just drifting, guys. Like, and so having him just on it, you just kind of pop it in and clip it down, and it's
fix the plugs and just plop the battery down.
The one issue is that different batteries have different widths, so I'll need to have either an adjustable feature there or various inserts to adjust the width. We'll figure that down the line. But
the other issue is you better not plug your battery in upside down.
You can. I've plugged my battery in the correct way more times. I have never plugged it in backwards on this, and I've plugged my battery in backwards before when I had the
with wires. Yeah,
because you can just leave those little rubber plugs in there, or always put your battery in upside down.
Yes, like you have to know the orientation of your battery matters. And you have a little sticker like the made in China sticker. Replace that with an up or down, and your money.
Yeah, I mean, I just always go some of them have stickers on both sides, but the Gen Zs only have stickers on one side, so
to put the label down.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would imagine that those terminals are pretty short to be able to take the battery out easily.
They're standard, but they're a little recessed. I'm thinking I'm going to make some custom.
The thing is, the plugs only contact the battery like in a ring, like a very thin ring. So as long as it goes in the hole at all, you're done.
Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'm working on right now new front end with, if you want to go up to the very first pictures,
Albert, I can't count on two hands how many times I've put it in the wrong hole, buddy.
Yeah. But yeah, we have these adjustable rear knuckles. That's the you can see that we have 2 screws on the sides. You can adjust them with the wheel still on, and there's no shims or there's no disassembly.
Oh,
it's just loose
crazy.
And you twist it to adjust your toe.
Oh wow! How is that? Are you machining that hex piece? Or
the hex piece is just a Rhino hex.
Oh.
But that's not. It doesn't matter for the.
So then the female piece is just like a hole.
Well, it has some other angular geometry in there.
Okay.
But yeah, you twist it to adjust your toe, and you have 3 settings and little flats on the sides to indicate or locate. We're calling these the speed knucks because they're quick to adjust.
Whoa.
And so this is kind of the design ethos of the rest of the chassis, giving you that adjustability that like a lot of overdose parts have.
Yeah.
You get that adjustable toe out of an overdose rear knuckle, but you got to disassemble your hubs, right? And so that's
your
a little
machine shop. So your machine shop that you work at is appears to be 100% subtractive manufacturing. Do you guys ever explore additive manufacturing?
So good metal 3D printers are.
It's just way out.
Millions of dollars.
Range. Yeah.
I would love to, and I've gotten some quotes from China, but I don't really want to get parts made in China. That's
fair enough.
Not the point.
I respect that. I respect that heavily.
This is going to be the American chassis, and it's going to be made in America. And
you and I are very alike. It's kind of funny.
In Japan, they have the support of their manufacturers. They're making parts exactly for them, how they want that. And so my goal with the end goal with this is to bring that into the U.S. and be able to support our best drivers in a way that they are actually supported, not just getting the leftovers from what they have in Japan.
That's very specialized observation by you.
Specialized for what we do here in the U.S. and how our U.S. drivers want to drive.
Yeah.
And so obviously I need good drivers on the team. But so if anyone is interested in that idea in supporting US, please reach out. I'll be providing test parts and stuff. Right now I'm just a single guy, so it's not like I can be sending people across the country or across to the other side of the world like some of these bigger companies, but I'm happy to provide parts for to get this US drifting scene to become a thing. I mean, we want our own identity.
I freaking love what you're doing, and to be honest, this is like what you are doing is something that I personally have dreamt about doing myself, and I'm kind of low-key jealous. I'm like, this is sick. And it's the exact same vision. It's let's make this something that we're doing and that we're not just beholden to whatever happens elsewhere. You know what I mean?
Yes, Victor, I'll give you a deck with a Overdose logo on it. They won't be able to tell the difference.
Wait a second. Hold up.
Wait, it's that Victor?
I mean, you have to make 2.
Wait, it's that Victor?
Yeah, it's that Victor.
I didn't know it was that Victor.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
Yeah, it really is. Just read it, Logan.
Yeah. The Overdose driver, dude. That's crazy.
Victor. Oh my god, dude.
Dude, he signed my poster. Yeah. So, when you're ready to leave those, those people in the dust, I mean, Victor, hop on the train. I mean, we're going places, but yeah. So this ethos of quick adjustability in repeatable ways is the whole idea behind the chassis. And so front end is going to be adjustable in that way with your caster increments labeled, so you don't have to get out a measuring your angle measure, hammer gauge. That's the thing. And same thing for as many things as we can do.
Yeah.
I'd like to, whenever I got S-Bus tuning for my ESC, ESC tune skyrocketed in its quality and how my throttle feel and everything. So if you're able to get that immediate feedback from a adjustment,
I pick up on that right away. Yeah,
knock it off.
You're gonna be able to, I think, bring your tune up to a higher level.
You put the driver as close as possible to the adjustments, and the end result is way better.
I mean, at Worlds, like, you'd have spotters for some of these really high level drivers, right? And the spotter in their ear. And I mean, if you could tell your spotter, hey, give me a degree of camber, give me a degree of caster, put some toe in the rear, and be able to do that in 30 seconds. I mean, I feel like that's a game changer for the competition scene. When you have so little time to practice and get your tune dialed in for that track.
There is a danger to be aware of, which is just basically sensory overload kind of situation.
Oh, definitely. I mean, there's a reason that the RDX is the best chassis for beginners. And it's because there's nothing to adjust.
Yes. You have no choice.
No choice. Yeah, no choice to have a good chassis, and it's just gonna be good. But that's not, if you're spending the amount of the GOM price, or I mean, that realistically, that's what's it's gonna cost, because this is made in the USA. But we're gonna get them as low as affordable as we can, but these the first batch for sure is not going to be the most economical.
Yeah, no, we covered that, man. It's I think it's as economical as you could ever expect. I would say that.
But I mean, people are not cheaping out on their competition chassis, so I don't think that's a big issue. Really,
I think you're good. I think you're good for what you're trying to do right now. Yeah.
Yeah. The where the prices are at is a good place for everyone to still be like, for U.S. manufacturers to still have profit margin. And I can't imagine I imagine they have similar situations in Japan. But they do have a little bit more history of precision manufacturing.
Yeah, it's how anything starts. There's economies of scale, but you have to have those early adopters, the people that really believe in the project, to carry it a little bit at the beginning. And I think you got that, man. And if you don't now, then we'll do everything we can to help you. But man,
Victor's out here trying to convince everyone to just not buy the first batch.
I know Victor's just throwing.
Not right very helpful, Victor. You gotta calm
down. But speaking of purchasing, though, where can people go to look at information, or is it just a DM to you?
Currently, since we're so early really in development, it's all going to be message me on Facebook. That's probably the best way to get if you really want a chassis right now. You can hop in line. There will be a website up soon, and if you follow me on Facebook, all the updates about when you can buy and everything will be available there. I guess I should probably put my Garrett Rover on Facebook. It has my It has a car.
It's in the chat. We can I'll throw it here.
Okay.
Oop, that's the wrong Garrett.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd love to. I mean, come back on when we have the finished product.
Yeah, dude, easily.
And we can we can talk again. But yeah, that's kind of what we're doing here, and I definitely want to thank Casey for keeping me in this, because I don't think I'd be here without Casey.
Big shout out to Casey. I mean, Casey, I can't imagine. We all have the experience of like new kid coming in. You get a little bit jaded of like the same thing over and over. It's like, oh yeah, here's another MST that I got to try to fix. And Garrett walks in with an abomination.
Like WTF.
No, Garrett, but
it was a very cool looking.
I'm sure it looked insane.
Car. I was very impressed for sure.
Yes.
But yeah, it did drive like garbage. I'm not gonna lie. but
no, but I mean, it's still really impressive. Like I said, that's the funny part of it is like you're comparing this to kids who walk in with an MST, and then you have a guy walk in with machine parts.
Yes.
What are you doing?
I pulled it out recently. And it did not drive good. So I'm not
sure
should
it, to be honest.
Put in the time to make it drive good, because now my tuning is advanced a lot. But
redemption arc, yeah, totally.
It's a little rough. So beautiful. Yeah, we're gonna have RDX parts available soon, but really the end goal is to have a full chassis, and I don't think we're going to be making aftermarket decks very long. If everything goes to plan, that is. I mean, if we have to fall back on the decks, whatever, I'll make decks till the end of time. But the goal is to create something new here that hasn't been done before. So
it's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
cool, man.
Yeah.
Did you guys know
what an episode?
You get
what an episode, Adam.
Yeah, man. Sorry, I was just realizing that like you get points for experience points for chatting.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I'm usually winning. I'm in second place tonight, so I need to work on it.
Well, that's because Poe gave
my titanium bill not.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen to Victor. Buy titanium.
Bill Nye.
He knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, I think we'll have both of you back on eventually someday. Garrett, whenever your products are ready. Casey, if you ever have, an event or anything, you shout out, we'll throw you on.
Heck yeah, that'd be awesome.
But it was dope having both of you on. It's a good episode when we don't even have to like do the typical fallback to like roast my rig or something. That's usually our crutch. Like at about the hour mark, we're like, okay, what's in roast my rig? So yeah, good episode. Thanks everyone in chat for tuning in. Shout out to all the Texas shop owners. I know Joe has been here.
For sure.
Shout out to the people at the Texas tracks, especially.
Absolutely.
I want to give big ups to Andre at the hobby shop. He's been a big help in progressing the tuning of my chassis, as well as Casey. But I unfortunately don't see you as much as I used to.
That's all right.
Shout out to Traxxas Machining, or what was it? Traxxas.
Big shout out to Traxxas Manufacturing. I mean,
Traxxas Manufacturing.
Not that Traxxas.
With an I.
Yeah.
On the side.
There goes Garrett's internet.
Yep. It is time.
We lost him again.
Ah,
All right. Well, anyone else you want to shout out, Casey?
well, that's my bedtime.
Shout out, y'all kind of mentioned it, but yeah, shout out to all the track owners. A lot of respect for y'all, and of course everyone that's into this hobby. We couldn't do it without y'all, and so big shout out to y'all for having this chat. I mean, it's
Right
awesome. It kind of gets everything out there, and we definitely need it, and we thank y'all. All of us thank y'all. So thanks
That's
for
the
putting
goal,
this
man.
on for us.
Yeah. That's the goal, man. We want to expose the entire country in RC drift because I feel like it gets too isolated. You know what I mean? So
Yes. Yeah.
We want to give everyone their voice and hear what everybody's up to. You two should hang out in the call for a little bit. We do a little debrief.
Okay.
Adam, you want to send them out?
Yep, we'll send them out. Thanks again. One last time. Just a small little plug here. If you are interested in ever being on the podcast, on this show, whatever we call it, just message us. It's pretty easy.
We're back up against the schedule issues. Like we got to get some people booked.
Well, I mean, I think it's easy once we get the invite sent out.
But
do the work. Don't rely on an invite. Just ask, because that works just as good.
Just ask and you'll get a link back. Yes, you are, Dal. Yes, you are. Of course you are.
As of now, I don't know who's going to be next week. Do we have anyone scheduled, Logan?
No, there is. Oh, you're right. There might and I think next week is the beginning of when we have zero schedule.
Anyway, so
and that's entirely my fault. So I'll work on it.
I just have to get a freaking Afro Talks V3.
Oh no, we do have a schedule. It's Justin next week.
Which one?
Wilming.
Right on. Ooh, we can talk about sim stuff again. He's been big into that right now. Anyways, thanks again, you guys.
Don't get me started on that.
Oh no. Yeah, you just got into sim yourself, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Victor's gonna get an invite here pretty soon.
Okay. All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Once he's on the cool team, you know.
Oh, the cool team.
Wait, he's not on a very cool team right now, so I'm not sure there's much going on.
Yeah, you're right.
There.
You're right.
Yeah, I don't think he is on a very cool team at all.
Sponsor.
Yeah, maybe like a US sponsor, maybe something like that. I don't know.
The words from himself.
Victor single-handedly taking credit for the entire chat right now.
And yet he's still is he number one yet? No,
he's not even anywhere near it, dude.
Well, just reminder, Poe sent in a super chat. So
yeah, he's 14.
He's not even on the podium,
brother. He's not even top 10, brother. He's not even top 10.
Come on, lock in.
All right, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Later.
See ya.
All right.